All right. Quick overview of the small change I made to the deck tonight. I really wanted to find room for the second crop rotation in the sideboard, so I am gonna test what I have been wanting to do for a while, which is probably gonna be somewhat controversial depending on who we're talking about. I'm gonna cut actually the fourth Allosaurus Shepherd. I don't know if we actually need four copies. Um, and the logic is it doesn't make mana by itself. It is frequently in some matchups the worst card, um, and sometimes the best in others. Right. So I think we don't really want to draw two of them in a bad matchup. Let me rephrase that. In a non-applicable matchup, something like green white depths, for instance. Hey David, how's it going? Feeling better. No more headache that I had the last few days, so that's good. Thanks for asking. I actually ran on the treadmill earlier today, so that's the first time I've run or I've ran since you know testing positive essentially. So I did have a little bit of shortness of breath during the run and afterwards, but all things considered, not too bad. And usually I don't like to run when I catch a cold or a flu or whatnot because you only feel better because of the adrenaline rush, for that 10-20 minutes, and then you just feel worse afterwards. But I don't think I have any ramification of that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Long. So I mean, it's fitting, I guess, that we have a Chalice player here. I'm going down on the number of Shepherd copies for this stream just to see if we can navigate without it. I mean, I play like as few as zero. Well, since it's been legal, one copy, I guess, and I'm not 100% sold that we have to have four copies. And I'm always trying to push the envelope with this deck, and I think we're getting to a point where sideboard spots are really thin, and sometimes you have to cut what you once considered a staple. I mean, especially speaking coming from me, who has trimmed all the copies of Nettle Sentinel and all the copies of Crawford of Quinn Ranger. The For what it's worth, I do want to point out after the Death Right ban and before the printing of, or before I started experimenting with Elvish Reclaimer, I did at least one point play the full 16 copies of not Sim, 16 copies of Birchlore, Heritage, Nettle, and Queen Ranger, and now I'm anywhere between 4 out of the 16, right? But I think for now we'll go ahead and just try it. It's gonna seem extreme. We might not even notice it in one league because the difference between 3 and 4 is probably not that big. But I do want to make sure that we continue to push the envelope for the deck. All right, so 1 second. HWL2CB Bolt. Uh, Not particularly great. This is like a double mole already. Probably just mull this. Keep. Here just deck thinning, right? Ideally, we hit a visionary. Yeah, because we don't really have much going on otherwise. That was bad. What just happened? We lost a point of attack because of that, but probably okay overall. Yeah, so I mean, the low key, it's not even low. A lot of people know this now. The choke point of the deck is not being able to make mana, and unfortunately, I'm trying to find room to improve some more iffy matchups, so to speak. And we'll see how that goes. Losing Shepherd really hurts against the Chalice matchups though. I think here we just get Symbiote. This could draw a force. We'll see. Yeah. They haven't done anything yet, which is a little concerning. They pitched their Leo, also a little bit concerning. Maybe that means they have another. Makes me think of the Thor line, right, from the from his Origins movie. I'll have another when he's drinking the beer. All right, we'll just run it back. We lost on a point of damage, but I don't think it matters, to be honest. My guess why they pitched Leo is maybe they have either another or they have a whole breacher in hand. It's redundant. Highly possible they just scared of Shepard too. That's like not, beyond the realm of possibility. I don't think I'm gonna attack because it's like not unreasonable for them to have Ice Fang. I think here I'm actually okay. We can glimpse. Yeah, we still bounce. We're guaranteed two draws off the glimpse here, assuming it resolves. If it doesn't resolve, we don't care because our opponent's gonna go to one card. I think do that actually. Not this changes our line a little bit. I think we can go with the second glimpse and just like keep in the loop. This is what I mean by that. Ideally, you just draw more one drops, and then the glimpse. You're casting for value now, right? Oh my god, that's insane draw. Apologize for my congestion. I think we just fire it off here. This is already really nuts. Endurance doing work here in the middle of the glimpse chain. So just drawing up our deck. I think we should pass now. Card rotation is mid glimpse. It just feels like cheating. I think what I'm gonna do here is Green Sun for 6 and shut off permission or whatever possible thing they could have here. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I suspected this actually, and that's why I played it the way I did. So sideboarding time. We saw Leo and we saw um, Earl. Caracas is like probably okay here. The endurance was good there. I don't know if we want it normally. This feels like a C's matchup. Probably just board it out here. We do have the Regress in case. We're probably more grindy and less combo, post board. Probably, man, this always finds a way. I still keep it, I think. Yeah, because of the way it maps, Sadra. I don't really want to keep in crop rotation against Delver. Is the reason. We're gonna run this out, and it's probably gonna die, but we have multiple, so it doesn't matter. This is a very controversial list. There's only 3 shepherds, so I don't know. The elf community may cancel me at any moment because of this. Oh my god, that card is a monster against us. Oh my god. Alright. This is a card that we don't want to see. Speaking of cards we don't want to see. Very awkward now. Leo, perhaps. That's actually okay. We're gonna grist. The question is what? Oops, whether we want to plus or minus here. My gut is plus. We kind of want to protect the shepherd, and then I don't really want to lose the symbiote either. If they ending our grist, it's gonna be awkward, but um, hopefully they don't have it. I there's a there, there's an argument to be made with minus and lose the shepherd, but I really don't want to do that. Like I don't really want to lose either of these two at the moment. Yeah, so that's part of the reason, right? It's just so bad, like Shepherd against these Merit Lage decks. Oh, that is a huge mistake by our opponent. They lose a draw because of that. I played three copies for a while. When I got back into Legacy for my modern break last year, for what it's worth. I think here we're gonna minus. Take the Canoness off the board. Um, attack Teferi, and then attempt to glimpse and see what they do. Okay. They had a game losing mistake by trying to bounce our. That's actually something that rarely comes up because most people who play Teferi know this, but um, yeah, you get denied the draw if I bounce in response, right? From my perspective, it's the same thing. It's gonna get bounced anyways, but you lose a draw if you do it that way. So yeah, again, I the main difference between tonight's stream and this was kind of impromptu. I wasn't really expecting to stream tonight, but I am. Okay? You're hearing this correctly. I'm cutting a shepherd and going down to three, and then moving the endurance one endurance main to make room for a second crowd rotation. Because I'm trying to address the lands matchup at the moment, and this is like one of the best cards against lands. And the logic why that's the cut is it doesn't make mana, and we're already very light on the mana production in this deck. Given that we only have two heritage, two birch lore, um, no. Traditionally, like before, once upon a time became part of this deck. It's like 3 and 3 each, right? But it's already kind of light, and I don't think I want to skim on more mana production. Not to mention Shepherd is just awful against certain decks. And I don't really want like against decks like Green White Depths or essentially Merit Lage decks or like Death and Taxes. I don't really want to see the card. And drawing one is probably okay. Drawing two is a disaster. Oh, that's easy. Our opponent is known for playing lands, so we will see how much it matters here. Um, and they presumably know we're on elves. Bayou suggests something else though. They might take our green sun here. Yeah. I maybe they're on turbo depths. I like this opening is kind of strange to me. Ooh, very awkward. Yeah, yeah. It's like it's because our deck is like exponential in terms of the way it makes mana. Yeah, so it is green white depths. So three, four, five, six. I think we play this and then pass the turn. There's a chance we're just dead here. Like Simi, yeah. I was thinking they might have a spirit guide into crop and then we're just dead. We're just trying to fade. So yeah, they are on turbo depths. Whether they're splashing blue or not, I'm not sure. But we're trying to have lethal next turn, so uh, us, I guess. 5. This matchup is actually decent for Shepherd, but again, you don't really want to draw two because they don't really have blockers, right? The matchups where Shepherd tends to be bad are like the tribal matchups, like D&T and Goblins, because you can never connect, and it's not doing anything otherwise. It's just a 1/1. Because this is turbo depths, I play kind of differently. Obviously, we want these in. Let me actually go to my trusty sideboard map. I'm like fully prepared to get canceled tonight for trimming these Shepherd copies. Yeah, so I bring in the Thoughtseizes and the Assassin Trophy. Chris is kind of bad here, and then Endurance probably not. Just as a chump block seems kind of loose to me. Um, no Collective, no Bajuka Bog. I think we want the Seizes. Something like this is, I think, reasonable. If we see Engineer, maybe we bring in the Grizz, but I think it's not that good. Like, this is already like a mold to 6. It does have the rotation, which is like really good. The Seas is like dead at the moment, but can be live later on. I think we. It's like a speculative keep, only because of this, which is like an insane card against them. Sure. Our hand just got noticeably worse. The other thing I want to point out is Shepard is not really at its best against blue decks. I want to make that clear. It's at its best against Chalice decks. Also, it's good against blue combo too. Or combo decks playing Force of Will is where it really shines. Ugh. It's like really awkward for us at the moment. I think we have to Green Sun. I guess it takes one Reclaimer to beat another, right? So I mentioned this before. The matchups where Shepard tends to be at its best or at its worst, Reclaimer tends to be very good, and the opposite is true as well. Where Reclaimer is at its worst, Shepard tends to be at its best. This is why the fetch density really matters, right? Like you want to be able to hit your colors consistently. Um, I think we have to get a Reclaimer here to deal with their Reclaimer. Possible it's too slow. Like if they have another land here, we're already too late, right? How low would you go on Shepard in theory? I've gone as low as one. But to be fair, this was also when it was first printed. When it was first printed, I and other people who followed me at the time were having a lot of success with just playing the one of. I do not think that's the correct number for what it's worth. I think the lowest I would go at the moment is maybe two, because the second one to 2 to 4 is fairly relevant in case the first one dies for whatever reason, or you need to like be like chalice or whatnot. It really depends. Man, this is like super awkward. I screwed up. I was supposed to attack and then just like did not because I spaced out on the needle. I don't think it really matters. We missed 2 points of damage. Alright, now we're probably just dead here. They interestingly are not main phasing the activation to play around trophy. I think the line here is to do it this way and hope it's a crop rotation. We should have actually attacked because they're less incentivized to go for it if we do attack. Alright, now we're dead. I think they would attack regardless. I mean, do it in. I mean, they go for the activation regardless. But um, they may. I've bluffed people out before by doing things like that. I think we just run it back. We kept a speculative hand and got punished. I'm okay, I think, with that keep. Uh, there's like a lot of ways that hand gets a lot better. It just we rolled low, so to speak. This is perfectly fine. I think here we're gonna deck thin into C's or once upon a time into C's. Actually, yeah. Let's. Oh, man, this is tough. Part of me wants to reclaimer here. Um, no, I don't think so. It's probably too slow in most cases. Uh, okay. We don't play C's not to play turn one. Take the crop rotation. It's also highly suspect to leave the reclaim. Well, let me rephrase that. There's an argument to be made, but I just feel like it's awkward now. I think they have one Mox Diamond left in their hand. I think we know their hand now. We just need to fade Thespian stage. Hex Mage is a live draw for them too. Oh god. Man. We do have two crop rotations. Nope, didn't get there. I think, yeah, I don't. I'm trying to think if we could have done anything differently there. The most obvious thing is leading with a reclaimer. I don't think that matters because they can just needle either the Caracas or the reclaimer regardless. So the other thing is like playing the glimpse before it got Thoughtseize, but I don't think drawing for one is like really changing the game. I think we save it to try to go off with more mana. They just happen to top deck better than we did, and it's not too surprising given how many tutors that they have. I think we're okay losing to that deck. It's not the most popular version of Depths at the moment, anyways. This is a mole. Ugh. I think given that there's no payoff, I like the Visionary. We're gonna set up for like a turn four-ish play, assuming we draw like either a glimpse or a natural order off the top. This deck top decks real well, for what it's worth. Sure, that card is not as scared on the draw. Hmm. Part of me wants to play the Visionary here in case they have something strange, like Spirit of the Labyrinth. So let's actually do that. We lost on a point of damage. I don't think we care. Yeah, I think they're. I suspect that this looks like a D&T land, planes. So that part of the reason why I sequenced it the way I did, because I was afraid of Spirit of the Labyrinth. Um, so it's important to tap the cradle before the bounce. Um, the reasoning being, you get the extra mana, right? If they waste us here, I don't think we care. This is part of the power of this card, right? You just have infinite cradles essentially. So I think our intuition played off well because it didn't happen here, but we did have the key pickup that they could be on D&T and just playing Sentinel. And we played around the Spirit 11, even though they didn't have it. I think barring um, uh, I don't think we can afford to take. Well, the thing was they also have C's, right? So they can just take the reclaimer if need be. Um, BR Dondo. But I like the way you're thinking though. All right, so we get extra mana if we do it this way. Oops. Now I screwed up. Okay, now I kind of regret doing that. So I'm gonna do it this way to get more mana then. Uh, I don't think we play the glimpse here because we're actually short on mana because of the Thalia. We have three, four. We have the hoof. Um. So yeah, let's do it that way. We didn't play around Solitude there, but maybe we should have. I kind of tunnel vision into that line, so a little bit sloppy by me, but I don't think it mattered here. The thing is, GTA is coming down next turn, so a little bit incentivized to just go for it. Actually, I don't think I want two in this matchup. One is probably just more than enough. Yeah, the awkwardness of having the second crop is pretty bad. So I think we just want the one for extra speed, like mid combo or something. Definitely an argument to be made this versus the Shepherd, but I think we want our deck to be functional. I'll take this time to, if you enjoy my content, feel free to check out my Patreon or my Discord, where I have everything on Discord is free. The Patreon is $5 per subscription, unless you really like my content and want to tip me more than that. Um, Also, while we're waiting for our opponent, if you have your Amazon Prime free subscription for Twitch, I'd highly appreciate any subscriptions. Um, Definitely trying to work. One of my goals for this coming year is to work on creating more content, um, whether it be elves or whatnot. But I think if anybody here enjoys what I do, definitely would be appreciated. This is like very iffy. I don't really like keeping hands that don't do anything turn one. Man. If we draw a land, this hand get. I mean, sorry. If we hit a one drop, this hand gets a lot better for what it's worth. This is like a mole already. This is like a half mole. Probably mole. This is just as bad. But I think we just keep it here. This is actually worse. Hate punishing waterfalls. Hand just got a lot better. Hand just got a lot better. Never mind. Ugh. Actually, I should have taken the. I screwed up. I should have taken the force so I can cast visionary. But I think arbor is like defensible too. Arbor gets a lot better actually now. That makes sense. Yeah, I as an elf player, I don't really like playing against curses. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. It's like very RNG-ish, right? Like, um, sometimes if I have something relevant, you have to hope it lines up, and a lot of times it just doesn't. The card that only really matters in that matchup, in my opinion, is Natural Order, and possibly if you have access to it in the sideboard, Force of Vigor. I mean, it makes sense, right? You're going Dark Ritual into 3-drop Bomb that an elf player can't really do anything, especially on the draw turn 1. Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Like, if the elf player has Force of Vigor, it can be relevant, but even then, like, if you have Dark Ritual Opposition Agent, then nothing the elf player can really do. I tend to really dislike those kind of matchups in terms of gameplay. Uh, doesn't help that they tend to be unfavorable too, in my opinion. Yikes. Okay. In this kind of game, I actually think we are favored. The more that they don't kind of durdle around. Although if they hit land drops and then just like port us out of the game, that's a problem too. Man. Glimpse of Nature has gotten like significantly worse in this deck. Everything's so fought on the upfront, so to speak, these days that sometimes you it doesn't turn on until a lot later. This is very awkward. Very awkward. There we go. I think we saved the second cradle. Actually, no. I think I like just playing it here in case we can just like chain it. Not to mention it plays around random things like Path to Exile, which is not a good card against us too. Hey Levi, how's it going, man? I'm playing a very controversial list, as you know. Jesus. I don't. Okay, so I was with you until you said the second part, right? Like I tend not to like to play cards because of other cards. You want cards that are just, in this day and age, they're just good by themselves. Oh, nice. I saw at least the one thing you said. I didn't see all of it. In case you typed more, Levi. I did see that you think we should just potentially just ignore the lands matchup, which is not unreasonable. That's the only part I saw. I don't know if you typed more. We're probably just dead here. I think omitting lands is reasonable enough because of how lopsided the matchup tends to be at the moment. I don't think we could just give up Mirror Lake decks in overall though, for what it's worth. Like we can't just be cold to all anything with dark depths. I think that's possible, and at the same time, not what's it called? It's not unreasonable for us to fix as well. I personally believe. Like we do have the problem is like in these leagues especially, and granted, um, leagues are a poor barometer sometimes because like you don't really expect to run into oops in bigger events. But like really the problem is oops. Oops, what did I pun not intended, but we're probably just dead anyways, right? That's like 4 damage and then another 4 damage. Yeah. Okay, so that's fine. um, we, it's like, it's not unreasonable to just ignore the oops matchup. I think that's like not. I think that's perfectly reasonable and just cut the ley lines. And with that, I think we can actually have our cake and eat it too, and be good against combo Delver. Like assuming this is like carpet or something, right? Or not even necessarily. I added the fourth endurance back just because of mapping reasons. Um, but I think it's possible, like, because we have 2 spare slots. I think I kind of want 2 spare slots at all times in case something shifts. I think this is like reasonable though. But the point being, I don't want to be just cold to all Merit Lage decks. And I think Green White Depths is popular enough. We should probably address it. And I think it is within the realm of fixing though, for whatever that's worth too. Yeah, for sure. Especially since I mentioned, I forget if it was to you or somebody else. Especially since the cards that are tend to be good against green white is like linear with our game plan too. What I mean by that is like crop rotation is a card that would otherwise be fine in elves regardless. Um, like it's not like we're jumping through hoops to hate out green white for instance. I think it's not too irrational to play Caracas or crop rotation. Like they're not too tangential to our game plan. Yes and no. I think keep in mind like the main deck is configured for natural order. So what am I trying to say here? I think yes and no because the main deck is configured for natural order. I'm trying to glimpse next turn is why I'm doing it this way, and I think it can be okay to power through or combo through against other decks. Even then, Delver is what like 15-20% of most of the format. I think I can live with it being bad maybe 15 to 20% of the time, and be essentially pre-boarded. I think here we're gonna take our ancestral recall. Well, there goes our progenitors plan. Yeah, that's fair, Levi. Like it can be okay too. Like it's not the end of the world, I think, unless you're referring to the end of the festivities. I think the way you lose, especially against Delver, is not being able to make mana. At least crop rotation does that, if not only for a turn. So there's that. I think the thing like that I'm more concerned about is long term growth with the deck, and I think it's difficult to for the deck to improve if we confine ourselves to Fort Alice or Shepherd. It smells like Containment Priest. Uh, so if I pitch here, that's 5 mana. Yeah, I think I'll do it that way. Yeah, that's what I'm doing, Punishing Waterfalls. This is like next level elf lines here that I'm doing, by the way. The reason being is you get an extra creature. If they do that, I get something else. I'm just gonna I can main phase and do it next turn, right? Like I don't have to. I'm not committed to doing it there. I yeah. So the reason being is because it's potentially not lethal otherwise. Like yeah, exactly. When Rar mentioned it. Okay, Bayar Dondo mentioned. It's funny the last time I played with Elves, I lost only to Euron D&T. How to approach the matchup. So most people I know who lose to DNT is because they underestimate the player. I think game one is pretty even now for what it's worth. I do think we're significantly favored post board because of Progenitus. Also, we have so many dead cards game one, like Bog, Endurance, or Allosaur Shepherd. And then we just board out a bunch of bad cards for all good cards game two. Whereas their bad cards, they can pitch to Solitude. Punished by a second priest with that line. I think we. I'd have to look at the math, but I don't think they would respond to the fetch there. But I mean, maybe they know. Like most people don't know about that line that I just took. So you need to make more sacrifices for the matchup by default. Uh, so Levi, are you referring to one of the other comments or what I said? I'm gonna bring in my deck list for this run at the moment. It is the. I think that's partly true. I think that's definitely a thing because, um, and if anybody knows, I've mentioned this before, but if you want to get into my brain but can't get a hold of me, I think the next best thing is Levi because he knows how I think. Um, he doesn't have as many reps as Yug, but Yug also isn't kinetically linked to me the way Levi is. Maybe because we're engineers, I don't know what it is. But Levi, I've found, has a good barometer on how I think, and we tend to agree a lot in terms of like deck theory. Obviously, your Jurg is a fantastic player, but um, he's not as on the same wavelength as me sometimes. Not to say that we're tangential or anything. I'm just saying it's more a compliment to Levi than anything else. But to address Levi's point, I think there is room. Well, I think the Reanimator matchup, we don't even need Leyline, but it's probably nice to have. The Karakas is double in terms of it hits both Reanimator and the Merit Lage decks, so that's kind of nice. I got a question on Discord. I didn't get a chance to answer it yet. I Who asked it earlier? Fev. asked the question about Wasteland. I don't think we need Wasteland at the moment. It tends to really only be good against Glacial Chasm, and that's like, and we just hope to fade Cloud Post. And even then, we can beat it with Assassin Trophy. The logic is because very, very rarely are we going to be able to Reclaimer for it when it matters against lands. So yeah, Levi at the moment is playing a lot of like Is It and other decks. But yeah, so it's crazy too because I wanted to actually tweet out this earlier today, but you know, here we are in 2022, and the Doomsday matchup is very good suddenly, and the Delver matchup is the one that we need to pay attention to, which is like very backwards from how things have been historically. Like Elves has historically been very poor against combo. I would say more better in the last few years as people have like you know accepted my philosophy that we need to hedge more in that direction. And but historically speaking, Elves has had good fair matchups and poor combo matchups. And here we are in 2022. Maybe we're the next Doomsday. We're good against everything but Delver now, right? Like I'm not saying Delver is bad as Doomsday, which is like you're almost like it's almost like suicide to register Doomsday in a Delver field, but I don't think it's like out of the realm to say the matchup is 50-50. And that's if I'm being generous. If you look at the statistics, especially for the average elf player and the average delver player, I think I saw like in challenges and things like that, elves is like 42% win rate at the moment. And that is not what it once was. A better elf player can probably get above 50%, but again, like it's probably because you're a good player, not so much because the matchup is great. Or because the Delver player is not familiar with some of the choke points of the, which is one advantage, granted, of playing elves. Great question, Sadra. I think if I knew I was just only gonna play against Delver, something like Julian did with two Carpet of Flowers is like pretty reasonable in the sideboard. Uh, Granted, he played against Reanimator as well in that showcase, and I think it's not unreasonable to trim the thought seizes and keep the ley lines. But again, that's like a very, very narrow field. In a wider event, what I would probably do is test the Delver matchup myself against who I feel is competent or of similar skill level, especially somebody like Levi who knows the elf choke points on the other side playing Delver, and then based on how I feel and how I think other players can, if they can keep up, so to speak, I will adjust accordingly. It's not unreasonable for me to make concessions, or any, not even just me, but other people make concessions for Delver, if it's that popular, and especially if the matchup is as coin flippy as it is at the moment. Um, I think with that said, I'm gonna get some water because my throat is hurting a little bit, and then I'm gonna use a restroom. I'll be back in, let's just say, 90-ish seconds. And then any questions that you may have, I'll answer on the way back before as we queue up for another league. All right, I am back. Let's go back to league details. Outside of the Delver draw, the time I lost against UR Delver was when they drop a Murktide on turn 3 and can't get Gris out. Sometimes, yes, that can be the reason. In my experience, now knowing when to bog or endurance is kind of a fine art. Like, you don't want to bog preemptively and then essentially have them reload to the DRC pretty quickly. So sometimes I will gauge, like, if I think they can make like a 6/6 Murktide, I probably ignore it. If it's an 8/8, then I bog, obviously. Probably Renwar. Myself included, but I've found that anybody who's played the Sentinel version has a very hard time picking up this version. I've only been able to make the, I guess, transition, so to speak, because I pioneered the transition. But my experience is like very strong pilots such as Levi, who's on stream here, uh, obviously Yug, needs no mention. Mr. Bayou himself, as Inigo likes to say. Um, Jax, obviously, and then recently Romario, if he's on. Those pilots who have successfully made the transit, who have successfully picked up the deck and done well, the majority did not ever play the Sentinel version before. And I think the reason why people who have played the Sentinel version, myself included, who have a hard time, is because you get into this habit, so to speak, of just wanting to play everything out. And a lot of times the correct play is just to fetch Cradle on turn 2. And I think so we played against this pilot twice last night. They might be on a different deck, but last night they were on Ant and then they were on Grixis Control. So, not great. If I knew for sure they were on Ant, I'd be tempted to keep. But as is, kind of bad. So, but yeah, the instinct to not having the strength and a will and force of will, so to speak, to resist playing out your hand turn 2 is something I found Neto players to have a very difficult time with. Like, it is just not in their nature to be patient, so to speak. Yeah, see, I'm not surprised. Like, and it's because I had that same instinct initially as well. Like, it's very difficult. I've found. I think I take the druid here actually. Well, let me think. We have the crop, so maybe the visionary is fine. And yeah, it's like it's hard to change. Like, there's a reason why they say, can't teach an old dog new tricks. Like, to be honest, like I get that question asked a lot. Like, oh, how much do I draw with glimpse when it resolves? Probably like 3 to 5 cards on average. Sometimes you draw up your deck, but it's like kind of rare, right? But how many times are you losing when you draw 3 to 5 cards? I would say for me personally, very rarely. Um, it's got to be at least under 5% at the time. All right, so they were on Storm again. I think what we saw off the Once Upon a Time might have been. I don't remember what we saw. I don't remember which game it was. We put back the endurance. Actually, we put it back off our initial hand. Sure. So, Renoir, your statement is not 100% factual. Glimpse is still important. It's just more so you don't need to draw your deck, so to speak. Like, you do want to resolve it, obviously, because Ancestral Recall is pretty good last time I checked. Yes and no, Sadra. So yeah, again, like an advice I gave an advice I gave Inigo Runcorn that and I that has helped him a lot is, and I wrote an article about this. I think I don't remember if I made it public. I might have been the one I made public, but the bottom line is, hey Dukes, how's it going? The bottom line is, you want to make as a Magic player, you want to make the right play, and a lot of times with the traditional build, the right play is playing everything out and trying to go for a big glimpse, right? Um, Here, that is sometimes the right play. It's still correct to play everything out if you have like a natural order hand, for instance. But a lot of times it's not. And my best rule of thumb is don't tunnel vision slash autopilot into a specific play because that's what you're comfortable with. But actually take a second and step back and think about what is the right play. And you'll see sometimes that right play is just doing nothing on turn two, and then end step reclaimer for a cradle, for instance. It just so happens with the traditional build, more often than not, the right play is to play out your hand, and that's why I think it's very difficult for players who have played the traditional build to transition because you're conditioned into making what is usually the right play for that build. Thanks, Duke. I appreciate it. Nice comment, HC Fox. I think we just keep. It's like we have graveyard hate, right? Also, Dukes, I've been meaning to ask you. I saw for a while Green White Devs played one Urza Saga. I don't think that's like too common at the moment, at least not the list I've seen. Is there a reason why one is not as trendy, or maybe it's just not that good as being a one of Dukes? Um, for those of you who are curious why I'm asking, I don't think it's out of the realm for me to try one Urza Saga in this list. Probably wrong, but the fact that it is not 100% wrong tells you how I feel or how people feel about the power level of Urza Saga. Yeah, I mean, I've saw it too, but like, I I guess at the end of the day, what I'm asking is it worth me trying to shoehorn Urza Saga one of into Elves because, or is it too cute? Maybe. Probably not retrofitter. I don't. I don't think. Yeah, it'd be for the grindy games, but I don't know if that's where you need help. It would help make Reclaimer a win condition though, and you'd have more game against random things like um, Gristlebrand because you can get a out of sneaking show because you can get a pithing needle or Thran Foundry for the Doomsday players, right? I think here we can do for sure. It's a little bit slow. I'm a little bit nervous that they have dressed down here. Yikes. Okay. I guess they picked up on our. I I didn't realize. Well, Mike yesterday mentioned the dress down tech and highly relevant here now. That's a concern actually. Normally, I'm not afraid of this card. It's a lot scarier out of combo decks. Like I think High Tide can be a hard matchup because of it. Argument to be made, we bog with this around just so that they can't go off. Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's a sweet line. I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but I will drink it. We might be just dead here. I guess I guess our opponent from last night like either didn't draw it last night or maybe they heard through the grapevine that we were talking about dress down in as in silver bull against elves, but it's doing work here. Well, he might be dead. So yeah, Dukes, you liking what is it called? Saga in green black makes me think it's probably not great in elves because we already grind pretty well as well. It'd be more for the tutor target if anything else. I don't know how relevant that is, but it seems a little slow. Is the only thing. Like I just want more combo hate essentially. Six. Um, it didn't really matter. The extra 2 mana that they got. Yeah, we're just dead. This card kind of nuts against us because you is a time walk right when both decks are fast. Uh, yeah, that card is quite good against us, unfortunately, and maybe they just didn't draw it yesterday. I typically have a pretty good record against Ant, but if they're gonna start playing dress down, that's gonna definitely affect that win rate. Um, exactly, yeah. I think maybe the Ant is having a problem with creature decks. I don't know. It's also a thing against endurance, right? It stops endurance from hitting the yard. I think our keep was like more than reasonable. Let me see. Yeah. So the thing about Saga is it would have to replace a creature. There's no way replacing a green source with it. So probably a little too slow. Hard to say. Uh, I did realize like recently that we can take a turn off. How many times in terms of tutoring when if we upkeep or sorry, draw step reclaimer for the saga because it gets both chapters on the same turn. But even then, you have to wait a second turn before it comes down. Maybe that's too slow already, right? It's like super late game. Our opponent was on Delver last night. Looks like they're on Reanimator here. Outside chance, it's Hogak or Madness. I think there's no chance. Well, actually, I take that back. I think we hold both. Like otherwise, we lose to one discard spell. I don't think we can afford to tap out here. Yeah, you should do that, Mitchell, for sure. Quite the top deck, to be honest. I think we are in a pretty good spot. We're going to steal game one. Like we're gonna our opponent is on a ticking time bomb. Is on a ticking time bomb here, and essentially what we did was we held two pieces of disruption up, and unfortunately we well, fortunately I guess we held up. For sure, Mitchell. Yeah, we didn't even do any play magic there, right? We just blew them out. Must be nice for us to board in 14 cards against the Reanimator. Must be very nice. I guess so, Ravenous Panda. I don't. I mean, I guess they're just hoping that it's just a bluff, right? I am. So thanks for asking. Somebody asked earlier as well. Long story short, I ran for the first time on the treadmill today after catching COVID. So, I had a little bit shortness of breath, but overall I still feel okay. So that's like, we're trending the right direction, I guess. Yeah, 14 cards against Reanimator. Pretty good. And again, some of it is by design, a lot of it is by coincidence. By design, obviously, something like Leyline, no doubt. Thoughtseize is just a catch-all, so I would say that's sort of by design. Um, and then finally, Assassin's Trophy. That's more by coincidence. I'm really playing Assassin's Trophy because of um, what is it called? I'm really playing Assassin's Trophy because of Murktide Region slash Doomsday slash Lands, but it kind of helps here, right? Like you beat some draws, otherwise you would lose too. Yeah, you beat things like Archon, I guess. My reanimator record, obviously, I mean, it definitely helps boarding in 14 cards. Granted, 11 of them are, oh, they're gonna get blown out here. All right, so we went 3-2. Not great, not bad per se. What did we lose to? We lost to Black Green Depths, which I don't think is like super popular. I'm ideally would have won because we're playing the two crop rotation, but kind of sucks not to. And also a not very popular deck that we I typically feel good about that matchup, and maybe I'm underestimating my opponent. But we kept a hand with Graveyard Hate essentially, and I'm sorry, Sage. Yeah, that was they're very savage beating there against Reanimator. And what was I gonna say? Shoot, now I forgot. Oh, I think I'm okay with losing that Ant matchup. Like we didn't really expect dress down, so maybe that's kind of on our mind now. I may have to go back to the drawing board and think about how I wanna. It's possible we want the Cradle Hoof now if they're gonna keep in dress down, or if they have dress down, right? Because Archon usually is game before, and suddenly now it's not, and that's a little bit awkward with only one natural order target, right? Like what Huff will do is it will force the dress down out, and then or sorry, they would have to have two dress downs essentially to beat both, right? Yes and no. I think it does beat dress down, and that's something I've considered. For instance, out of against like the band decks. However, keep in mind if they don't have the dress down, trophies just stranded in your hand, like pretty bad otherwise. And I don't think we can't. I don't think we're afforded the luxury of holding mana up. So I'm not a fan of trophy for whatever it's worth, unless we know for sure they have like four dress down or like something like dark confidant, like pivot. I think the deck was fine. We'll run it back for science. My favorite comment right now is from Sager about them having a family. We have some savage counterplay. I guess is the best word against Reanimator just now. Ideally, we would have beat one of the other. I don't mind losing to Ant or the green black Turbo Depths. Not ideal to lose a both though. I don't mind losing one, but it's more like 11 to be fair. I don't think Assassin's Trophy is great. It's just like okay, right? But sure, I point taken. I mean, trophy leader is in the chat right now. Actually, that's QK is in my name is the trophy leader. No chance I'm gonna catch the trophy leader. Nor do I want to be honest. Like, I kind of want to enjoy my, winter break, so to speak. It was nice to do it a few. Okay, we ran into the same opponent. Thank you for the follow, Joey. I think this is like as good as we can hope, right? Against something like their deck. We're on the play too. So we probably gonna lose game one. I don't think we can afford against a discard deck to mold to like Seas or something. Sorry, to mold to like a Reclaimer or something. But we do have a decent glimpse turn two, and if they don't kill us uh, earlier, there's a chance we can rip off. No worries, Sadra. Yeah, QK is Balenciaga and Boba. I mean, I don't really expect most people to know that otherwise. I just know because they're from my LGS. What this line does is it opens up a turn two play in case we top deck a green sun. It has a glimpse because the green sun is not live unless we draw a cradle, anyways. For a collector hoof, obviously. Oh, so they're on a graveyard deck. Interesting. They're on a Hogak. Sorry, the Madness deck. Sorry, not Hogak. I actually like this for us. I mean, yeah, that's what COVID does, though. I mean, I haven't really played for a while too, and our store temporarily shut down actually, um, with all the influx of COVID lately. So this is the fourth time we played this opponent in the last two nights, and three of the four matches they've been on different decks. So I guess they like to experiment a lot. I do love myself some Gris, for whatever it's worth. Yeah, this should be that Madness deck. We had a nice glimpse, but drew kind of poorly, unfortunately. Um, we gotta draw either Green Sun or Natural Order pretty soon, though. Oh, so it's Jund Hope. What? I didn't think Madness played this card. Yeah, Gris is very good. Like I'm tempted to play two sometimes. The reason, in case the first dies for whatever reason, or gets countered, or discarded. Um, but the ability just to like Bitter Blossom every turn or be removal from a Green Sun is just huge. Yeah, kind of a strange build playing Hogak. Um, a little awkward though. Obviously, we can kill the Hogak or the Ravager. I think the Ravager is actually scarier. Man, this is tough. Otherwise, we have to triple block the Ravager, and I don't think that's where we want to be. Our Gris is gonna die regardless. Um, oops, wrong one. Yeah, for sure. I think here we're just gonna pitch. We gotta kill this so they don't draw more nonsense, and then pass. It doesn't do us any good there to. It doesn't do us any good there to kill the Hogak because it comes back right after the Ravager trigger. So Ravager attacks. Sorry, Imp is gonna take down the Gris, and then Hogak's gonna hit us for 8. It's pretty bad actually. They should be bashing with the Root Wallet too, but I don't think they realize it. Yikes. Yeah, we're kind of in natural order bust, right? Like Renwar mentioned. It's possible we take out the Hogak with the Gris and buy ourselves a turn, but then they like Ravager's very good though, and they're gonna get back the Hogak eventually, anyways. I think we're dead here. Actually, we're live with Green Sun. Nope, now we're dead. I don't know if it's better. Like maybe better against this version. It looks like they've omitted Hollow One for Hogak. Korok is very huge right at the moment and looming large. But yes, it's probably even better against this version that doesn't have the Hollow One sidestep plan. We don't bring in the trophy and the seasons for tempo reasons. I typically don't like Thoughtseize against these other creature mirror combo mirrors, and it's because you take the tempo hit, and while graveyard deck, they're kind of like a creature deck, right? Like we can just get aggroed out. Like it's not out of the realm. I think here we keep. We have the reclaimer, and then we have a natural order. I don't think we get. We play the percentage. We're not gonna get turn one here. And it's very dangerous to go for turn one when you know, 3/4 tribal is running 3 to 4 endurances usually. I think that's good and bad for the metagame purposes right now. I think endurance is like very cool card. The problem with it is because it's so universal in Elvish Reclaimer decks or green decks. They kind of know how we board for the most part. Yeah, I don't think that's correct either. Like it just seems like a worse version of elves. Right? You're weak to graveyard hate suddenly, and you don't have the resilience of elves. I mean, you have some explosive plays, but I mean, aside from easier to play, I can't think of a reason to play it. Oh, my neck's kind of killing me right now. It could be Firestorm. Our opponent is deep in the tank. Hey Mike, how's it going? I just mentioned you actually the other day. Your dress down tech came up actually in the last match against the same opponent who was on Ant. They've switched decks though. Yep. So I was correct in that, assuming that they were gonna Firestorm. I think with that said, we'll go ahead and get the Kai's Cradle. Oh, nice, awesome. Yeah, probably our. Maybe they got their list from you. I don't know. Uh, yeah, potentially Sage or do it earlier, right? Well, they also pitched a land, so maybe they don't have anything to pitch. You don't really want elves to get off the ground either, for what it's worth. Or they have a second one. I'm gonna go ahead. Ooh, so they do have Hollow One. I wonder what they cut for the Vengevines then. Sorry, the Hogax then. Yeah, for sure. Probably in trouble now. I'm gonna go ahead and give some mod access for returning participants. Uh, that can't be right. I think Once Upon a Time is a broken card. Oh, I see. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say what they cut, right? Like maybe Burning Coors. Once Upon a Time is, in my opinion, the most underplayed green card at the moment. Sure. We're gonna take a beating here. 9. But potentially we can stabilize, but with chump blocks. All right. I think I want to block with the Visionary and the Shepherd, so I'll do it this way. Okay, so that's not the worst. It's Newton. Yeah, I think so too. I think 3 Once Upon a Time. Actually, 0 Once Upon a Time is more like the O2 Ponder, right? I still see people not playing Once Upon. I just think that's just like straight up heresy. This is kind of a cool trick that we're going to be able to do. We're going to pitch the Arbor here. Oops, cancel. Where we had yeah, we couldn't do everything on the same turn, unfortunately. We have to get the natural Arbor. All right. I'm gonna play as if I know what's going on. I'm gonna tutor for a 1-drop and pitch it. Doesn't really matter what. case they have something strange like Fatal Push. I do, Mike. I do think Doomsday. I don't know if it's the pilots I've been playing against or not, but I think something like in my last 20-ish matches against Doomsday, 15 to 20-ish, I think I've only lost like 3 times or 4 times at most. And I think part of it is maybe Doomsday pilots underestimating Elves. I think part of it is just me, I think, cracking the matchup wide open with Assassin's Trophy on their land after they try to go turn one Dark Ritual Doomsday. And then obviously the printing of Endurance. Yeah, so I think against Doomsday, yeah, I think I've only, in the last like 20-ish matches, I've only lost like 4 times or something like that. Something pretty insane. Um, I think there's no disruption here. I think we want to just mull. We have 4 endurances and 2 leyline. This is a little bit slow. Man, I'm like very tempted to keep this, but I think we have to mull. Like whatever graveyard shenanigans they have probably gets underneath the reclaimer here. So this is significantly better. Keep. And I think we put back the shepherd and probably the crop. Yeah, trophy on land turns out like people underestimate you and you just blow them out. Oh my god, why? I don't. It's probably a removal spell, but what are we gonna do? Just not play our stuff? So So that's a good question, Mike. That I've gone a few times. They can beat trophy on land, but usually it requires them to have like a third land drop already or a lot of extra mana. And while they can beat it, what it does is it forces them into a longer game. And typically before the hardest hands to beat out of Doomsday were turn one Dark Ritual Doomsday. And the longer the game goes, the more natural order becomes live. And I think the longer the game, the more it favors us. I think here we just attack and see what they do. So yes, a consider pile can beat it. The problem is a consider pile doesn't really beat endurance, right? Backed by Shepherd, but I guess it depends what they want to play around. It's just more things that they have to play around is all, Mike. Right, that's what I'm saying. They have to guess now, right? What they have to lose to, and obviously endurance is better than trophy, but it's just a different angle of attack. What it really does, Mike, is by having essentially 7 or 11 cards if you count Thoughtseize, right? That we can just keep now. You don't have to mulligan aggressively. And Elves, the reason why it has historically struggled against combo is because you don't have enough cards density, right? Like disruption density. So you have to mulligan aggressively. I think they play like 1 or 2, but I'm referring more to our discard. Like historically the reason why Elves has a hard combo matchup is because you have to mulligan aggressively, and by the time you do, you don't have much for the win anymore. Whereas now having enough disruption density, what it does is it gives you a chance to what is called just keep sevens a lot of times is what I mean. Yes, they do have to guess a lot. This is a little bit awkward. We're gonna take a bunch right now. They pitched the Firestorm, which is very interesting. I almost feel like they have a second. Yeah, I mean, there's what we just talked about, right? This is like real bad for us, actually. Have to- Yikes. Alright, we go to 11 and have to block next turn. It's like real bad. We need like Cradle off its. Oh my god. Oh, probably a loss. I think it's highly possible. I'm gonna watch the replay of this match real quick. I think it's highly possible we keep our opening hand. We just had some awful draws right now. Also, doesn't two firestorms doesn't do us any favors either. Argument to be made, we would have lost the previous match. I would have to watch to be sure because they screwed up on the LED. Yeah, I would play Steph Cousin, but we don't really want to splash blue. I played Ipnu Rivulet for a while, and Stifle, like as the blue splash, but when the Doomsday match, it felt worse. What is going on? We are just dead. I think I don't remember what happened game one. Oh, we just didn't draw what we needed. We had a few turns. I think game three, I kind of want to watch. Like, this is already a mode of six because we boarded out the Archon. Not that it's great here, anyways. I think we have to mold this. Uh, like, we're not gonna be able to cast Huff for a while, so I think that's fine. I think this is like debatable whether we keep. I think we did keep this. Actually, hold on. We did not. And that's probably the mistake that we did. No, yeah, we got Firestorm out of game two as well, but they messed up, so we won. Uh, yeah, I think that's actually the mistake that we made. Oops. Let me go back. We should have kept the six actually. Given that they possibly just keep a Firestorm hand. Like this is a mole, and I think this might be a keep actually. We obviously get blown out though if they. The problem is Firestorm's an instant too, I think, and we just drew blanks, right? Against this kind of deck, it's probably okay actually to keep the Reclaimer. Like their clock wasn't super fast, and I think the mode of six maybe gets there. Oops, I don't know why it's not going. But yeah, that's worth keeping in mind, I guess. It's a bummer to start a league off 0-1. I probably should have kept a 6. Live and learn, right? I don't really. I have been beating the Jund Madness deck, so maybe that's a wake up call that I can't just like. I have to take it more seriously, so to speak. Yeah, Mill 4 is a big problem for Doomsday. So I did like the new Revolution. I don't think I've ever lost a game where I had it online. Yeah, I think the big takeaway was we probably keep the 6. Like we only have 2 ley line and we have what 4 endurances. So it's the loss is probably on me. I kind of tunnel vision into disruption, but they're a little bit. They're not a little bit, a lot slower than like reanimator, where you really want the turn one hate. They kept a firestorm hand too, which reanimator doesn't really have those kind of hands because they. There's this like thing about people believing elves can't be combo, and I think that's why most combo decks don't really have a lot of hate for elves at the moment. But yeah, it kind of sucks to start off a league with a loss. We're playing against G hash 77. This is my third time playing against them. Okay, they're on a different deck today. This is my third time playing against them this week, but they were on a different deck the first 2 times. I feel a lot better about this matchup than elsewhere, obviously. I think given that they're on the LED version, we're probably just gonna lead with the Birchwell Rangers for mana. And then we're gonna collect it with them out of the game, ideally. So the line here is pretty obvious, I think. We're not gonna mess around with the Glimpse of Nature. We're just gonna lock out their deck. That might just be game. Yeah. This is why I play Collector with main because there are people who insist on playing great artifact strategies, and this is just a KO. And you can realistically get it turn 2 off of Green Sun a lot of the times. And if not turn 2, turn 3 is a guarantee. All right. We know that they're on the LED version, the very combo version. I'm gonna play the ley line as a result. I think we want the assassin trophy for sure. Oops, wrong one. We don't want the Gris. Crop rotation is like debatable, I think. I don't know if we want to. It's like not actually. This is the more combo version, so I think we do want the crop rotations, and I think we just want to play for speed. We have a turn 2 collective, so can't be mad. So they're not even playing around the. They're all in on the ley line hand, I guess, or the a hand that doesn't be that loses to ley line. So they kept in. They boarded in their force of will. I think given what we saw, we're just gonna leave with the Bayou into the symbiote. Our hand's a lot worse now, obviously, but that's to be expected when we're on the draw here. I'd be curious what their win rate is against Delver because I've heard that this version of the deck does very poorly against Delver. But I do know they top aided the challenge recently. It's like the reason why I'm playing the two leyline mic is because it punishes people for mold to things like leyline and sanctity, like out of oops or the thing is like we just hope not to draw. These games are going fast, so we just don't really worry about drawing them, and we have a fast kill too. That's why. Hmm. What we're hoping to do here is catch our opponent off guard, and they go for an echo, and we hit their Narset in response. I think right now, given that they haven't done anything, I'm gonna go ahead and develop our board. Sure. All right. A turn late. They boarded in. They kept in all their forces, which seems kind of bad, quite frankly. Like I can get force of will. Force of negation just feels awful. Oh, we screwed that up. We should have killed the Emery when we could have. Yeah, that's a mistake on our behalf. Now they have a draw engine online. All that waited time. Probably doesn't matter actually that we gave them the extra draw, given the way it's played out. But hard to say. Oh, they might just be dead here. Wow. I mean, the stock Alpha list right now plays 4 Allosaurus Shepherd. So I do not think you want your deck to just be to fold, so to speak, to the 8 Allosaurus Shepherd deck, right? 4 Green Sun, 4 Allosaurus Shepherd. Like they don't know we're only on 3 copies, but that was quite something. Again, this matchup, even though it's more combo, like they just fold to a single card, which is that we can tutor for with a virtual 5 of, right? No Rod is OP, yeah, for sure. I somehow think they messed up besides boarding wrong because I don't believe you're supposed to lose when you mind twist your opponent and draw 7. So it's hard to say, but I don't believe they're supposed to lose there. That's a mole. Exactly. 7 is a lot. And I don't know how they lost that game. I mean, I've had it happen. It's just very rare. Hello, hello, Romario. We were just talking about you earlier. Good things only, I promise. In today's stream, I am doing the controversial thing of only playing 3 Allosaurus Shepherd. I wanted to find room for more things in the sideboard, so I moved an Endurance main and cut a Shepherd. Yeah, I know. I'm getting ready to get canceled by the elf community for sure. Quite the top deck though, and the logic is it doesn't make mana on its own, and kind of bad against certain decks. I don't want to really like against like green white depths for instance, and I don't really want to draw multiple against those kind of decks. Depending what they do here. Pretty much, yeah. I think I had to create my own Discord channel, right? Because there was a user who is now actually banned from that original Elves Discord for harassment, essentially. Essentially, every time for no reason, they would randomly bring up the fact that, oh, my list was bad. And I just had enough of it, so to speak. And eventually just left or stopped participating in that Discord because of this user. Um, I don't want to air people out, but I'll put it this way: their username was very ironic. That said, what's it called? So I stopped posting in the original Elves Discord because I just got tired of the harassment essentially. Interesting here. I think we just do nothing. I think they're on show and tell, but I could be wrong. Yeah, so essentially at the time I started brewing with elves and I thought, oh wow, this card is real good. I think it has a future in elves and all right, so they almost gave me information, but I believe they're on show and tell. Well, I don't think there's too many other decks that play Ponder with Ancient Tomb. But long story short, they harassed me enough where I just felt like I don't want to deal with them in the Discord and create my own. And then lo and behold, my own Discord became fairly popular, I guess. So some people, yeah, for sure. Like I, because it was considered part of the show for so long, and I don't think so, Mario. I mean, I don't really know the real name, right? Like I just know the username that uh, essentially gave me a hard time, and unprovoked for whatever reason, every time they would get the chance, they would just bash my list, even though the conversation had nothing to do with Reclaimer, for instance. So I just got tired of reading, and then this person since then has also been banned for harassment of another user. So I guess it's a pattern, right, of behavior. Yeah, so that's the thing too about the people like that just are just very negative about anybody who disagrees with their viewpoints. So I eventually left and created my own, and since then, that like I said, that person got banned by the moderator for other things, but I didn't bother to go back only because I felt like we made a lot of progress with our list, and it didn't make sense to me to undo that, so to speak, because I think when your list is excuse me, different enough, I think having your own channel or venue or platform to discuss is probably more useful. Yeah, so you can find it, I think, in the reclaimer section, but then to me it kind of defeats the purpose. Like the original Elf Discord, I think now has like multiple channels for different versions, but we have our own Discord for that, for what it's worth. That you're a part of, Sadra. I think the trophies are okay in case they're on omniscience, right? For instance, not the worst against sneak attack too if they have it naked. I think we just have to keep this. Exactly right. Like I mean, most of the reclaimers conversations going on in our Discord for whatever it's worth. So they are on Sneak and Show, based on Volcanic Island. Yeah. So my personal opinion is Chaos definitely has its benefits, as in it's a little bit better against Delver, I think, because you don't have Natural Order. But I do think Natural Order is probably too good not to play in a vacuum, for what it's worth. Again, anybody who knows me, I like my deck thinning. I have been blood mooned out of these kind of decks before, so it's not out of the realm. Our Karak is potentially live here. We'll see. I think the line here is to shit. I So the Shepherd will protect the glimpse, but I don't think we can go off otherwise. And I kind of want to cast glimpse next turn. So that's the logic for sure. That's my logic for not kept playing it there because I want the glimpse to. I want to fire out the glimpse next turn. Uh, we get blown the f out here by Kozilek's return, but I don't think that's something we can play around. Yeah. So I think here we are forced to go for it. We can potentially play around. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. They have days. One second. Sadra. It was actually a mistake by me. I should have once first because I had this as a live draw for to dig for the yeah, this would have been nice to have. Yeah, a sequencing mistake by me that might be costly now. Yeah. See, the channel lands are the opposite of what we're looking for sure. Uh oh. Shoot. Wow, no activation? Just a naked sneak attack? Interesting. I think I'm gonna do this just because I'm scared. Alright, they're just dead, I guess. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty cool in for lands or anything with life from the loam, right? But definitely the opposite of what we're looking for. Because I think okay, since we're bringing up like hypothetical wish list, so to speak. Let's take a look. On my particular wish list for elves, I mentioned this before, is a naturalized land. The reason why I say naturalized is disenchant would be white, obviously. If we can get a disenchant in green, that would be one of the things I would want to play, potentially. The other thing that I'd like to play is something. Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, we can do cool things with like Daryl Gaz's Caldera and then or and bounce the Black Tutor one, but I think that's a little slow. Uh, if we can get somehow a better win condition out of Reclaimer, that's like better than Urza Saga, for instance, that's a little slow, or better than what is that card that I used to play? I don't know. It's like sacrifice 5 acolytes. Is like one of the texts. I'll bring it up here. West Vale Abbey. There you go. If we can get an improvement over like the win condition for Elvish Reclaimer, that would be pretty sweet. In addition to a naturalize. Yeah. So that this would be pretty cool. Like this is like I played it. It's like not the worst, but a little slow as a win condition for elves. Also, I've been blown the hell out of by like Stifle or Cutting Wish for what's it called, a bounce spell. So very dangerous card to play for what it's worth. Very funny against burn though. It's bad against submerged, obviously, right? Like I think I would only bring it in for like the mirror at the moment. Yeah, Ormenthal is Ormondal, sorry, is not quite there. Um, Depends. Like again, I think it has to be something that we can reclaim her for without. And unfortunately, I think it's gonna be channel, right? Like I don't think it's gonna be worth it unless we can reclaim it for it. Is my guess. Obviously, we can reclaim her and then use a bounce land like Caldera, but I think that is very slow. And somehow, if we're doing that, I'm not sure it's gonna be better than the black one, which tutors, right? Let me look up the black one again. Neon Dynasty. All right, here's Neon Dynasty spoilers. I think it's like this one. Mill 3 cards, return a creature or planeswalker. All right, it's not even a tutor for some reason. I thought it was. This is a regrowth. Yeah, it's a raised dead, I guess. Not quite there. I mean, it's kind of nice to like. We can already rebuy a creature if we really wanted to. Like, Mortuary Mire is a thing, or a Volrath Stronghold, and then a Walker. The only one we play is Grist, right? And again, Mortuary Mire or Volrath Stronghold can do that as well. Man, we're on the play and we're at Mull, so probably Mull. They're probably on Oops, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'm just gonna assume that we can play real Magic here. The thing is, if they're on Oops, we're gonna lose game one regardless. So I want, like, it doesn't make sense to mull the Reclaimer. I want to be able to play Magic. All right, they're on their like landfall-ish deck, I think, or burn maybe. So again, very happy I mulled that hand because I think if they're on Oops, we lose regardless. At least game one. Grist's passive might be the most broken in the whole game right now. I don't say that lightly because something like Karn exists. What other passive? Teferi's passive is nuts too. And Narset, like the War of the Spark Planeswalker is just off the charts in my opinion. But Grist is definitely on that power level, I think. So they are on burn. Nobody wants to play Fair Magic anymore. Or, sorry, longer games, I guess. Let's see. We're at 15. The Windslope would represent another land. I think we just, like, pass. We're hoping our opponent taps out, and then we can generate enough mana to hardcast Hoof. Thank you for the follow, B1. Or Bobber Bear, I think it will look what it looks like. Sure, that's fair. Oh, they're on, yeah. We're not going to block. I mean, if they're going to attack with this, we probably do block. Jesus Christ, what in the world? Unless it's like 2 removal spells. I don't even know what that does. Sure, I guess. Why would they... Unless they're willing to take the 2 for 1. That's the only thing I can think of. Might be a Fire Blast. That was what I was afraid of. Like the alternative there is like to triple block maybe. I just don't like playing against like this kind of deck that we're probably never gonna see again. We're gonna take the chance here. On Moto just elves, but I play other things IRL. I own Death and Taxes and Ant Dredge, Delver on paper as well. But I usually just stream elves because I think that's what people want to see. All right. Oops. Definitely tilt from playing against this deck. Thank you for coming by though. Be one, Bower Bear, I guess. If I played other decks, would people actually come by and watch? Because I recently streamed Vintage Cube and it was not as popular, so to speak, for whatever that's worth. I think, yeah, that's for sure. So that might be part of it too. Sadra. So part of me thinks it might have been correct just to chump block the Eidolon. I just didn't want to. I figured our highest probability chance is we hope our opponent just not recognize that we have lethal there, but they were heads up. So I think most people know me for playing elves, but for sure Raven is Panda. I agree. I mean, I enjoy playing other decks. That's not really the issue. The issue is more like it just so happens what I own on Moto. I feel perfectly comfortable playing other decks. Uh, decks I tend to enjoy besides elves. Like I do enjoy playing D&T, but nobody tell that's Jax, please. Which part is not advertised, Sadra? Sure, lava spike. Actually, let me think. Probably, yeah, bounce. Hmm. Yeah, I didn't put it in my Discord only because it was cube, but I figured maybe I can post that on like off topic or something. I guess that's not unreasonable. Sure. It's probably gonna be creature, I would guess. Oh, that's like double good, right? It's like both. Ooh, quite awkward actually. Hmm. 2. Go to 1. 4. Oh, we're one short, I think, of what I want to do. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we're one short. What? Oh, yeah. I mean, maybe, yeah. I think I'm just gonna start making dudes and see what they do. Very awkward now. That is one benefit that they have. We don't know how to play against their deck. We're gonna play around the Eidolon here, but I think we're probably in trouble. The Reclaimer trades. It's awkward with this thing having first strike though. Oh, gee, I screwed up. What am I doing? I mean, I guess kudos to our opponent. That's kind of a cool thing that would be otherwise unexplored. This is just quite annoying, though. We're at one. I think we have to do it this way. Natural or off the top? Nope. Actually, I'm just yeah being playing pretty poorly right now because I should not be doing that, and then I just like used to playing land drops. All right, so that's I don't think it would have mattered. Oops, didn't see where our next card was. Yeah, I don't know. Probably could have played better. I just mentally check out when I play against decks. I don't ever expect to play against again. Oh, this is probably a mole. Especially since we think they're on the artifact deck. Wow, they actually did that. Usually people don't, and I think it's usually wrong too. But probably more than double. Yeah. There was an argument to be made. We blow the green sun for a. Ooh, that's like doubly good. I think actually a lot of people work on Painter for whatever it's worth. Sadra. Sure. I think here this gives us extra mana. We can't. Yeah, I think we want to do it this way. I don't really want to lose my Birchwood Rangers is the reason. So I'm gonna take the Narset off the board because I want to draw out their Force of Will. Not to mention shenanigans with Echoes of Aeons. They don't realize it has trample. Unless they have Dismember main, which is would be nuts, but alright. That's gonna draw a force for sure. Force dot deck is not gonna really work against us. Oh, I didn't update my Stream Decker bot today. I apologize for that. I will do that next time. It's pretty close though, I think. So on the topic of like consensus builds, I think blue combo tends to be worked on a lot by like the storm variants. Like the storm players will typically always play storm, in my opinion. The fair blue players will probably always play fair, and then the tribal players will always play tribal. I think the people who shift around are like madness or whatever. I think they will play multiple decks. I don't. I forget we boarded in the rotation. I think we did. Uh, Probably keep, though I don't like it. Me? Good question. I guess I would be in the category of the tribal player, right? I don't really enjoy playing Delver for what it's worth. I own it on paper. I just don't really enjoy the play style. I tend to like creature decks, so like I'm okay playing DNC for instance. Um, what was I should have fetched actually. Is it because deck building is easier if you play blue cancer? I don't know if easier is the right word. I just think people enjoy that style better. Is probably the best way to like you'll always have support in that. What the heck? All right. And this it's times like this where I wish I played Force of Will. Hmm. People wonder why I have the need to play Layla of the Void. Things like this can happen otherwise. Wait a minute. Oh, they hard game. Okay, sure. The irony is we did beat this last time. I think they're just mulling for the nuts against us. Yes and no. I think Raven is Panda. I definitely think people. I think there's some truth to that. Raven is Panda, but I also think people are attached to their cantrips. when sometimes it's not the best build. What I mean by that is I'm almost convinced that smog builds. I'm almost convinced that the optimal build does not involve cantrips, and I've seen like I think Jund is probably the correct way with Burning Wish, for instance, to build that deck, and I think people just are need the security blanket of cantrips, and I don't think, for instance, that's the best way to build that deck. Um, Also, people just like cantripping. I think it's just like a thing, right? In Legacy. I don't know actually. I believe they should have got the the treasure chest, but I don't know why they didn't get it. They should now. The crazy thing is, I don't even think we can concede. They should have. Yeah, I think the Hull Breacher came second, so I think they should have gotten the treasure chest. I don't know why they. Yeah, maybe they just chose the Narset by accident. Not that it matters here. Same, I guess. Oh, sure. Good point by Yihua. So the whole point is I've already drawn, so I wouldn't draw anyways. Is I think what Yihua is saying. We gotta see more of their deck here, right? Like I know they're really all in comboing. I just want to open with a leyline. That would be great. But it's hard to do that when you only have two. Uh, now we're just dead. I think here we're okay with the way it boarded. Like again, I'd be curious what the win rate of this deck is against Delver because I've heard the matchup is very bad because of how combo-y they are. I think they have the combo again, or they're this got to be Hull Breacher, and then they have the combo next turn maybe. Although if they did have it, they would do it this turn, which is interesting. I think to play it safe, we're gonna hold up Assassin's Trophy. Yeah, our gut intuition was correct. All right, that was pretty good, I think. Now I think we can just play for the lockout. Um, there is a chance they have dismember here, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play around the dismember. Actually, that doesn't make sense. If they had the dismember, they could dismember my collector oof though. Sure, that's actually good for us, right? All right. We just have lethal on board here, I believe. There's a chance that they can kill our oof and then, but I think we just have lethal. Yeah, I think they lost patience. Another 3-2, which is like average. Beating on these kind of decks, I guess. I think this probably could have played better, but I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it there. The ant loss, or sorry, the madness loss. Um, that was a miss. That's on me. Probably should have kept the six, but overall, I think the list felt okay. We beat up the same person twice though, so really should be only count one. And I don't remember what Zeta was on. Let's see. Oh, they were on the sneaking show. Did we play Dover tonight? That's a good question. I feel like we did not. I don't think we did actually. We went 3-2 in both leagues, losing to essentially combo both times. We did beat combo. Like I think half our matches tonight were combo. I'm not, and that's not counting the artifact deck as combo either, including that almost all of our matches I think. Um, and we won about half of them. I think could be better, but I think overall it's like okay. Right? We beat Sneak and Show, which is typically hard, and we also beat um, I forget what else. Reanimator probably. Yeah, well, yeah, we beat the Reanimator player. So roughly half, and that's not even including the very combo artifact version. Uh, I know, right? Below average, for sure. Uh, we went 3-2 in both leagues. Could have been better. I think like I mentally checked out in this match because uh, I tend to not have the best focus when it's a match I think I'm never gonna play again. And they were playing Cemetery, whatever it was. Actually, hold on. Let me go back here. Game one. Let's see how it played out. I think we were happy with the start game one, and then they bolted our dude. I think we visionary here. We drew the hoof, which is pretty boring. Oh, I remember how this played out. We went for the hardcast line, and They had the Fire Blast in hand. Debatable whether we should block here. We get blown out though by I think it's tough, right? Like we go down 2 creatures to 1, but maybe it's worth it because they would most definitely take the Visionary and they take the Warwood, and then we're not left with much. So I think it's okay not to block there. They also tapped out here. I think we live with it if they have the Fire Blast. It was a heads up play on their behalf, admittedly. And then we couldn't really do anything after that. Also, I'm not used to playing against this card for whatever it's worth. Debatable whether we should have done that, but I think we would lose pretty much regardless. They're gonna bash with everything here, and yeah, see, and we're just gonna die regardless, right? No, like I think the alternative there is we get the endurance, which is actually reasonable. Um, but again, I don't expect to ever play against this again. So that said, does chat have any questions for the list? I don't think we learned much, unfortunately, tonight. I think card rotation was like pretty neat when we had it, for what it's worth. We got to do some cool plays with the glimpse and comboing through, right, with a single glimpse card rotation in the deck. Good question, Sadra. I think Levi has streamed it before, although he's kind of off the deck at the moment. He's playing a lot of just Is it Delver. I'm thinking who else would stream this. I don't think Jörg really streams the deck. He has some of his replays, obviously, from like Eternal Weekend, but I don't think he streams it. I believe it's just Inigo and I. I think Julian has streamed it in the past. I don't think he's playing the deck at the moment. Or if he is, he's playing it offline mostly. Because I think most of his decks that he streams are like donation decks, for instance. But don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure. Just ask him directly on Twitter, for instance. I suspect he doesn't really play this deck much on stream, and he mostly streams I think donation decks is my gut feeling. That said, he does have videos off stream if you're looking for additional content. Yeah, so I know he plays a lot of Mill, and I think the guy's name is like Kevin, who he is working on the deck with. I don't know who Kevin is personally, but I believe that's the person's name. Excuse me. Um, Overall, I think we didn't really even against the Chalice deck, the Artifact deck, we won pretty convincingly in the 2 matches. So I didn't really feel like we missed the fourth Allosaurus Shepherd. Um, to be continued, I guess, where we leave off on this. Heritage, the count is 2 at the moment. I think that's probably correct. Especially since we have a crop rotation, which is like almost like a third. And then we can board in almost like the fourth, right? They do a little bit different things, and I like that this is a hate piece, and I'd like to thank you for the follow, Alex West. I think the goal in the near term for this deck is to shore up the Mirror Lage matchups, and I think if we can do that, I feel pretty good about where the deck is. Again, back to the league. I don't really mind losing this burn deck. I don't think, like I said, I don't expect to play against it. This loss here is on me probably because we didn't keep that 6. Let me go and check the other league. I guess. All right. So in our first league, we went 3-2 as well, and we lost to Turbo Depths, and we also lost to the same player that on Ant. And I think I did. I said ideally we would want at least one of those two. So all things considered, not could have been better, but we'll see. So question from chat: if you cut crop, would you bring back Shep or Silver Bullet? Which Silver Bullet do you have in mind, Sadra? Lage and not Delver. What do you mean by Lage, not Delver? Oh, yeah. So the if I cut the crop, it's hard to say at this moment. I think the reason why I'm trying the crop rotation package is because I'm trying to shore up the Merit Lage matchups. So if I'm cutting it, I'm probably not bringing something for that, right? So the sideboard is a little bit flexible, and essentially the ley lines could be something else too. I think the only thing that for me that is like kind of non-negotiable at the moment is, and I played a green white list like a couple streams ago. Um, Actually, I played off stream actually without the Thoughtseize. I just feel completely naked without Thoughtseize. It's probably how Force of Will players feel playing a non-blue deck, and I feel the same way. Right, without Thoughtseize, I just feel like I lose to a lot of nonsense, even more so than already. And I think this is like non-negotiable, and I think the endurance and the trophy and the progenitus are also all non-negotiable. Um, so that really leaves four slots, I think, in the sideboard. That can be kind of anything. And I think the short answer is if I did cut the crop rotation package, it's just whatever I feel like hating out at the moment. It could be like two carpet, for instance. But it really, really depends. Like, there's a lot of different factors. For Eternal Weekend, for instance, Jurg and I played Force of Vigor. And again, that was just a meta call at the time. Like, we expected Death and Taxes to be really popular, and we didn't want to accidentally lose that matchup, even though because you can very well lose game one. Like the game one is at best a coin flip, I think. And then games two and three, while favored, I didn't want to leave that a chance. And at the time, eight cast also a very favorable matchup. I wanted because of his popularity, I figured Force of Vigor was very good, and it's also very good against lands, which is a problem matchup for this. It's our worst matchup in my opinion, and I think Force of Vigor during Eternal Weekend was a great meta call because I think multiple of the pilots ran into 8 cast and we just like farmed them, so to speak. And then DNT obviously you're helped by the Force of Vigors as well. I think overall though, pretty happy about the list. I think if you want to hedge against controls, like a second Gris is like worth playing. Cabal Pit's like not the worst, especially against like Peacekeeper decks that think they're gonna lock you out. But you should be favorable against DNT anyways. I don't think there's any much besides that. Again, if you enjoyed my content tonight, feel free or it'd be much appreciated for a Twitch subscription or check out my Discord and Patreon account. There's also my YouTube. I wonder if that's here. I usually post replays on YouTube, and if you for whatever reason, okay, I don't have the command. Somebody can add it for me if they want, but usually I post like all my videos because Twitch I think only has them for a month, and you can catch like old replays from Eternal Weekend and whatnot on YouTube. A popular one I know is my own Eternal Weekend review and the review of Jurg's. So for those of you looking to pick up the deck, those are like pretty good options that are no longer on Twitch, right? And I'll post that here. My YouTube page for anybody who's curious. You can also just Google hello_Newton and find it that way. So here's the main channel, and then here is the replay of Jurg's. Really matter are only
natural order and
Eternal
discard
Weekend
because
Review.
discard can stop the natural order.
And then here's the review of mine.
It can. A
So all like these are tends to be the most popular links I've found. If it doesn't work, just like message me. I believe it should though. um, I think with that said, anybody have any questions? I think three Shepherd today. We didn't really run into the matchups for it, so hard to say if we're missing the fourth, but I don't think we do. And again, I think it's gonna be hard for us to, move the deck forward if we what's the word? If we are beholden to certain cards, and I think I've already cut what I could out of what cards I feel are unnecessary, and I think we're at a point where we need to start thinking about the future and potentially freeing up sideboard slots for problematic matchups and the like. At least until we, fix the Merit Lage matchup, so to speak, which is, in my opinion, especially out of green white depths, within the realm of fixing. I think lands, depending on who you ask, might be not fixable. But again, we said this about Doomsday at one point, and I think Doomsday is actually one of our better matchups now. Most people don't realize this, and that's fine. The longer it becomes, people think that Doomsday is still favored, the better for us personally, because they don't really play much hate. Like Massacre is good against D&T, but not so much against us because you have the Dark Ritual out, right? And we have 3/4s that we can play. I think that should be it. I'll go ahead and I rated Geeky Jackson last time. Would chat prefer that Big Magic Live or Power Dragon? Those are I try to. Okay, there's also Eyelash TV, but I don't know what they're playing. Doesn't show. So I think Geeky Jackson might be cool if people want to see that again. Thank you everybody for coming by.